Hello. It has been a hot minute since I've come onto YouTube and said hello. I think it's been about a month and we have been away, as in out of the UK for a month on our honeymoon, and I need to debrief you about it because it was honestly one of the best trips of my life. And whilst I was out there, I didn't really pick up my camera to film for YouTube. I think the editing for YouTube takes so long. And I just wanted to take some time to just enjoy where we were, enjoy us being together. But I'm back in the full swing of things. We've been back for about 2 weeks now. So I've just been doing loads of washing. I've been getting back into GP work and just a bit of a routine because it literally went out the window whilst we were away for a month. So it's a bit of a shock trying to get back into a routine, but I'm trying to do this challenge on my Instagram where we do like a reset routine together. And so far so good because you guys are keeping me accountable. I think I need that. If you want to join, absolutely please do and give me some tips. But the purpose of this video is probably just to fill you in on the honeymoon because I feel like the planning was so good and I can't take any credit for it. Rich did all the planning. Our trade-off was I plan the wedding so he can plan the honeymoon, but in all honesty, he plans all of the travel in our lives and he plans it so well. So I'm basically going to give you our itinerary, food recommendations, places where we stayed, but also places to shop and the things that I've bought. And probably after I do this bit of the video, I'll do a little try on because some of the clothes I bought are actually insane. The quality, knowing that I can't get it in the UK, like it's just... So grab your drink of choice. I am obviously drinking my electrolytes in a pint glass because why not? And let's get into it. I'm going to start right from the beginning, which means from our flights. So we flew with British Airways and we went from London to Singapore, which is 14 hours. Got off the plane for like 2 hours maybe, and then got back on the same plane. I sat in the same seat for another 7 hours to Sydney. And if you've seen from my social media, we flew business class. We didn't pay the business class flight fares, but Rich has been really on it with the Avios and we managed to get both of our business flights with our companion voucher and we paid just for the tax of the flight. I think, and I'll double check with Rich, but I think for the flights we paid £1,200 for the both of us for business class long haul travel, which I think is absolutely wild given that one single flight business class to Australia is like 3k. But again, I can't take any credit for that because he has been absolutely on it. So that's the first thing. When we landed in Australia, we were picked up by our friend and we were actually staying in Sydney for the first 3 days at our friend's apartment. They were conveniently away for those 3 days. So we were really fortunate because we stayed in their apartment, and I don't know, again, if you saw on my social media, but the views were absolutely stunning. Like it was the view over the water, the bridge, Opera House, like wild. We got there, we showered, and then we went to Bill's Cafe, and my friend, who is Australian, was like, oh my God, you have to get the ricotta hotcakes. And I was like, hang on a second. There's a place in the UK that has the best hotcakes. And then I realised Granger & Co in the UK is basically part of Bill's in Australia. So we obviously got the hotcakes and it was the best thing ever. I had no idea about that connection. As we only had kind of 3 full days in Sydney at the beginning, we jam-packed it with quite a lot of stuff. So we did loads of walks. We obviously went shopping, which I need to tell you about. We also did some sightseeing. So things like the Sydney Opera House, went on the ferry and saw loads of the sites, which I would actually recommend. So the first day I remember, I was looking to buy a new bikini because I only have about 4, and obviously I need 5. And I went into an Aussie brand called Sir the Label, and I had my eye on it for a while just because I'd seen it online and I thought, let me just see. And I ended up buying a bikini. I was then going down towards Zimmerman and went in Zimmerman, and firstly the lady was like, oh my God, I love your outfit. And I was like, oh, babe, I love you for saying that, so thanks. Secondly, I had my Sir bag on me with my bikini inside, and she was like, oh my God, did you know that Sir has a sample sale tomorrow? And I was like, this is divine timing, this must be fate, like I am meant to go to this sample sale. And so I said to Rich, I was like, we have to go because I'm here, like the timing is just perfect. So the next day we went for a run, and I was like, okay, let's go for a coffee in the area before, after the run, then we can go to the sample sale. And I think Rich was like expecting it to be like doors open at 9, you walk in. And we got to Paddington around 8:30, and he was like, why is there a queue around the corner? And I was like, this is how sample sales work. Like, you clearly haven't been to one before. And I didn't realize that this was his first sample sale. We waited in the queue, drank our coffee, and then I said to him, I was like, look, like, maybe what you could do is just keep your eye on the bikinis. Like, this is my size, kind of want like a matching set. So if you see any nice ones, like, you do bikinis and I'll do everything else. He was telling me that people, like, girls were ripping bikinis left, right and center, like from his hands, from the bucket in front of him. Like, he was overwhelmed, and I felt really bad because I realized like how stressful that must have been for him. But I ended up buying so much stuff, and I think the amount of stuff I bought, like if I was thinking about it now, I bought 2 maxi dresses, 1 maxi skirt, 1 pair of shorts, a top, 2 bikini sets. Did I buy anything else from there? No, I think that's it. And all of that came to the cost of 1 dress in Sir that you would buy full price. I actually think I got a really good deal, and when I do my little show and tell, I'm sure you're going to agree with me. I absolutely loved the stuff, and I love that it's hard to get in the UK, because I love having pieces that are like one-off or unique, or not everyone's wearing them. So I can't wait to show you, but I'm actually obsessed with everything I got, and I have already worn some of the stuff like during our honeymoon and when we've been back. So that was the main highlight of Sydney, joking. Sightseeing was amazing. And then after 3 days, we went to Hamilton Island, which again was really fun. It was more like an island life. And I think this is the time where I felt like we were really on our honeymoon, because it was more like resort vibes, chill vibes. We went to go and see the Great Barrier Reef. So we did a boat tour and ended up doing a helicopter tour over the Great Barrier Reef, which again, I would recommend, because you don't appreciate how vast it is until you see it from up above, and it's just so beautiful. We were going to do a boat tour for the Whitsundays, but the weather wasn't great, so they actually cancelled it. So I'm a bit sad about that, but I always said to Rich, like, this isn't the last time we're going to go back to Australia, and so we can just add that on the next time we go. So that was for 5 days, and we kind of just relaxed, like played tennis with each other, explored the resort, explored the island, and then came back to Sydney for 2 days. So we landed back in Sydney around 7 p.m. and it just so happened to be that my best friend from the UK was also out in Sydney for work, and her partner is Australian and was in Sydney at that time visiting his family. So we ended up meeting, I got off the plane literally, ended up meeting them for a drink and snacks, and then came back. And we were staying in a hotel, which again, I would really recommend. It's called Spices, and it's at Potts Point. Yeah, Potts Point. I always get Potts Point and Piper Point confused, but it was Potts Point. And that's a really good location because you're really central to everything, including Paddington if you wanted to go shopping. We did the Hermitage foreshore walk, which again was amazing. And then met up with our friends whose apartment we stayed in, and watched the sunset and had some dinner, and it was just so wholesome. So that's the Australia part of the honeymoon done, and then we moved on to the Bali side of the honeymoon. We went to 3 places in Bali. We went to Ubud, Nusa Lembongen and Nusa Penida, and Uluwatu. We were in Ubud for, I want to say, 4 days. Rich's thinking was to go to the furthest place away from the airport and then work our way backwards. And the place we stayed at, I would highly recommend. It was adiwana, suweta. Rich actually booked a room with a private pool, which I absolutely adored. It's just beautiful. Like, the service was great, the hospitality, like everybody is so friendly. They go above and beyond just to make sure that you're comfortable, to the point where you almost feel bad because they are so lovely. The room was amazing. It was just so nice. We didn't do much the day that we arrived. We kind of just relaxed. But the reason why we didn't do much was because the next day we woke up at 2 a.m. to go on the Mount Batur hike. So Mount Batur is an active volcano, which I didn't realise, and we hiked up in the pitch black on an incline for 1.5 hours to watch the sunrise in the morning, and it was beautiful. I Was a little bit scared, I'm not going to lie, because you don't really know or realise what you're climbing up until you go down in the daylight, and it's like a little bit scary. But I mean, the guide was telling us that 1,000 people do it in peak season. We had a beautiful sunrise and met some lovely people as well, actually, and then headed over to a coffee plantation after, tried some coffee. In Bali, there's like this thing about poop coffee, like I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, where there are certain animals who they give the coffee beans to, they ingest it, and then they defecate it out, and then they dry the stool and then make the coffee from that. I didn't try it because you actually had to pay extra for the poop coffee, so I didn't really do that. But the other coffee I had was great. And then we came back, and our friend happened to be in Ubud at the same time. He was doing a surfing tour, so we met up with him for a coffee, and then Rich had booked this tasting menu at this place called Room for Dessert, and he told me that it was a 5-course tasting dessert menu. We got to the place and it was actually a 15-course tasting menu. You move rooms every 5 courses, and we had a mocktail pairing, and honestly it was so delicious. It was incredible quality of food, but also the price was insane. Obviously, everything in Bali, your money goes a long way, but for that service, 15 courses and mocktail pairing, like, it was incredible. I would go back there again because it was just so good. So that was a fun experience, but because obviously we were up at 2 a.m. that morning, we were super tired. So by the time that it got to the last courses, I was like, okay, like, I'm really flagging now. I just need to go to bed. So we had a really good sleep. And then the next day, we hired a driver based on our friend's recommendation who had been to Bali before, and went to go and see the rice terraces, waterfall, and the temple. We didn't do the water purification, but we went to a quieter temple actually, which was really nice. There was not many tourists there. And then the next day is when I actually went to go and see a wizard. So some of my friends who have been to Bali recommended this wizard to me. I'm kind of open to things like that. Like, I'm quite spiritual. I had a spiritual upbringing and I'm curious. So I managed to get an appointment with him. He's actually booked up like quite far in advance, but he's actually also really good at kind of squeezing you in if you say like, I'm only here for a few days. So all I did was send him like a photo of myself and my name, and then he did a reading from that. So we had like a 20 to 30 minute chat about what he found from the reading, which, you know, I'm not gonna like put all my eggs in it and say like all these things are gonna happen, but it's just nice to have a bit of guidance and maybe clarity on things that I was questioning. I found that was a really nice experience. And then Rich and I booked a massage at the hotel that we were staying at, which again was divine. We had a couples massage, which was 90 minutes long. We also had like a yogurt bath situation, and then we got into a bath that was full of flower petals. So it was just a really nice experience to spend time together and connect. And then we were gonna go for dinner, but I didn't realize that actually Rich had booked a private dinner, just me and him, at the hotel. And it was crazy because it was thunderstorming, but there was like these candles and flowers and just this intimate dinner that was set up. And again, at that point, realised like, we are on a honeymoon, because we travel so much together and I love it and we have so much fun, but you forget sometimes that it's like a special point in your life. And I think sitting down and enjoying that dinner together was just such a lovely end to the day. And then after that, so that was our last night, we then travelled to Nusa Lembongen, which is an island. So we ended up getting this like fast ferry, so it was about 30 minutes from the mainland. We were staying at Morin Resort, which again is another place that I would recommend. Rich smashed it with booking the room. We had like a private pool that went around the kind of villa that we were staying at. This was kind of a smaller island, so we didn't really have like much to do in the way of exploring, but I feel like it was more rural and you could really soak up the culture. We went on a motorbike to explore some places, and I didn't actually realise that Rich owned like a motorbike or moped, when he was living in Sweden. I didn't really know he could ride a moped or a motorbike. So that was a fun fact I learned about him. I was obviously petrified, but then I eased into it, so that was fun. And for the last day, we actually went to Nusa Penida, which is another island. So we got a really tiny boat, which I was petrified about again, because you felt every motion of the ocean. Like, it was so small that I was like rocking up and down and clutching onto his hand for dear life. And in Nusa Penida, there are a few places where you can go. So we went to like Kling Kling Beach, Angel's Billabong, which are beautiful things to see and obviously very tourist heavy. We didn't go in peak season, so I don't know how busy it would be in peak season, but it was already busy at the time that we went, and it was obviously scorching hot. The next day we went to Uluwatu. So the way that we had timed it, and we actually didn't realise, but Balinese New Year was on the 29th of March, and that's like a day of silence. So you're meant to stay indoors, use minimal electricity and light, and nobody's really allowed to go outside. So the day before, they kind of closed some of the roads down because they have this parade and this festival. So we were worried because some places were saying, oh, maybe we won't be able to drive you to your hotel, or maybe you'd have to get like a motorbike or whatever. But it worked out well. We went and stayed at the Radison Blu in Uluwatu, which was, again, amazing. I would definitely recommend that, and also really well located. And then on the 28th, we did like a bit of shopping and explored some food places. But then on the 29th, we stayed in the hotel and then just used the facilities around the hotel, had kind of like a pool day. But then we only had one more day in Uluwatu, and that was the 30th. So we crammed that with like more shopping. So I went to the Hatch Market, which I've seen online, which is really great for like little knickknacks and clothes and jewellery. I got some more bits from Bali actually, which I forgot to mention. I don't know how I forgot to mention that, but yeah, I'll show you what they are, try them on, and where I got them from. We went and watched the Kecak fire dance, which again I would recommend. I didn't realise that the Kecak fire dance was based on the Ramayana, which is like a Hindu scripture. Such a beautiful watch and such a nice reminder of the story as well, and kind of the ethos of the whole story. We then went to Singapore for 2 days. So my vibe for Singapore was just living out my crazy rich Asian dream, which, by the way, PSA, has been taken off the flight films. So I made Rich actually download and buy it so that I could watch it on my flight back. Because I also realised that this is not going to be like the first and last time I watch it again. Like, I've watched that movie 10 times and it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving. Anyway, I digress. So we were in Singapore for 2 days, had probably one of the best chicken satay in my life. Like, they just grilled it outside, but it was stunning, like 10 out of 10. We went to the Botanical Gardens, Chinatown, the Buddha Tooth Temple, and then ended up going to Marina Bay Sands for drinks, watched the sunset go down before we came home. So yeah, I can't believe that that's me debriefing you on our honeymoon, which is wild because I feel like I've just crammed 24 days of stuff into like 10 minutes or whatever it is. But now I think we need to move on to the best bit, which is showing you and trying on what I got, because that is what we're all interested in, isn't it? Really. And I mean, that's what I'm interested in. Hello, we are back with the show and tell, and I have to say it has been a few days since I filmed the first part of the video, but I'm here with all the goods. And I thought we'd go through what I bought in different stages of the honeymoon. So I'll start with Australia to begin with. Let's get into it. First up is the bikini that started off the shopping spiral. This is the red bikini that I got from Sir. The quality of this is just amazing. I've worn it so many times on our honeymoon. Then moving on to the 2 bikinis that Rich actually picked out in the sample sale. So the first one is a black number, and then he picked out this like brown pattern, which again is really nice, and I've worn all 3 of them when we were on our honeymoon and absolutely loved them. It's gone from having like 4 bikinis to 7, but we're not complaining. This is the black maxi skirt that I got, and I feel like it's super versatile. Like, I can wear it to work, daytime, or even nighttime. And the same with this linen top. I feel like it's quite nice to dress up an outfit, and I actually wore it in Singapore with some white pants. Up next is probably the showstopper of the sample sale, which is this red and blue maxi dress. I wore this to our private dinner in Bali, and I am just obsessed with it. I didn't know if the colour would look good on me, but I'm obsessed with the shape, I'm obsessed with the colours, and I love the detailing on the strap. So I can definitely see me wearing her again and again. And then from one maxi to another, I got this black maxi from Sir. I feel like you can't really go wrong with a black dress. I feel like you can wear it to kind of a wedding or an evening. I do think I'll probably need to get this bit taken in just because it's a bit gappy on the side. The back, I absolutely adore. It's like an asymmetrical situation. That is everything from Sir. I think I did buy some linen shorts actually, but I can't find them. I think I've packed them away. But then I did go to Kookai and I got this gorgeous black waistcoat, which I'm going to try on next. So this is the waistcoat that I got from Kookai. I love the cut actually, the low back. I wasn't sure about it when I saw it on the hanger, but when I tried it on, I absolutely fell in love with it. I bought some white pants, not these, from Kookai as well, but I've actually given them to my mum to take up because they're really, really long. I thought this would be a good number for like an evening dinner or an event. Now I wish I'd got it in other colours, but yeah, maybe I'll just go shopping on their website. Up next we have the Bali purchases, and the first thing I got in Bali was this top, which is super lightweight, backless, and just really flattering. I went into the shop, actually I think it was called Flock's Boutique, saw it, but then I didn't buy it, and then I went back in and I was like, do you know what, I've been thinking about it, so I have to get it. I also then got this skirt. This skirt was a bit on the pricier side actually, from a shop called Kohei, K-O-H-E-I. I can see myself wearing this in the summer when it gets warmer, but not yet because it's still a bit chilly. But yeah, absolutely love both of these things, and I actually think they go really nice together. Next up, I got this butter yellow set. I got it from a shop called Goxua. They had loads of different colours, but I think something about the yellow just spoke to me, and I thought the yellow was just something that I could wear on holiday or even wear separately as well. Again, backless. I'm giving a backless vibe from all the purchases, but yeah, absolutely love and adore this. And then the non-clothes purchase I got in Bali was a bag. If you follow me on social media, you've seen I've already worn this bag so much. It was from Uluwatu leather. I saw loads of those studded bags that are going viral at the moment, but I wanted something that was a bit more timeless. It fits my iPad in there, it fits so much stuff, and it goes with everything. I just love the shape, and it's genuine leather, and I think I got it for about £40. So I promise you, we are nearly at the end. We're going to move to Singapore, and I only bought one thing in Singapore, so hang on in there. The last purchase, which is the only purchase I made in Singapore, was this brown dress. Now before I show you, I feel like it's giving dish vibes, and it has pockets. How beautiful is she? I feel like it's perfect for work, for summer, for life. I just love the detailing. There's like buttons over here, there's a bow, there's ruching, cinches me in here, and there's pockets, which is just the best. That's everything I bought on our honeymoon with a little try on. Let me know what you love, and the next vlog will be back to normal life.